That's great.
So we're gonna record from my laptop right now because this isn't configuring.
Okay.
So it started recording.
All right.
And,
Okay.
yeah, we'll have to approve the next minutes, I think, next
Okay.
time.
So, can you tell me if there's anyone on the video call?
Oh. Yes, we have Denise Teese. She's paralegal representative for property 47 First Street. Regarding delay of conservation of
Okay,
okay.
what I think the best way for you to do this is if you put your laptop here. You sit here and that way we can have this facing us and you'll be able to look and see if anyone on the call raises their hands and wants to talk. Sit over there.
I want to be able to see that too. Oh, I think.
Well, that's why I'm having Maya sit there, so she can tell us if there's anything worth looking at.
No, she.
Mr. Chair, I want to attend the meeting. But now we have a problem.
The rumor I'm hearing is they're asking for a continuance, by the
Yeah,
way.
because it didn't look like anyone was there from the applicant, so I don't know whether they are hearing it or, but.
Have a quorum.
Well,
Damon's on.
The ZBA
is
is
Damon there?
DT.
Oh, okay.
whether
No, that's Denise.
to
Denise said he was
whether
available.
one
Oh,
dwelling on a lot. Mr. Mia's proposal is split into two. The commercial is one, so the other was like
Yes,
27
Yeah.
single family homes. What he's asking for is for variance to allow here. But
well, okay, we do have a quorum in your absence, so what I will do is it is now 7:03. I will officially open the meeting to record what is going. And we will note that Peter Coffin is going across the street to the other meeting. However, we still have a quorum.
it's on. Thank you.
Okay, issue item number 1, accept minutes meetings because of technical difficulties. To get them printed out, so we will defer that until next. Item 2, we will wait until 7:15, so we'll move on to activity since last meeting. One of the actions that's happened since last meeting is routing slips. There have been the Conservation Commission is on the electronic CC list for routing slips that go around all of the town boards for things like alcohol and beverage permits. I had Susan and Damon look at both of them. They said, nope, there's nothing there that we need to get involved with. What I would ask for a discussion is to authorize the chair and co-chair to, when we read those in the email, to approve them on behalf of the Conservation Commission if we see that there's nothing in there that relates to any property that has come before us that where we have any DEP numbers or advisory fees. So discussion.
Well. Yeah. That's fine, but. Chairman and the vice chair might not know the history. Where a member that's been around a little longer might know the history and go, oh, hey.
Okay,
So I think they should be reviewed.
well, they are,
In the
how,
past,
Yeah.
we would have the routing slips at a meeting
yes,
and we would circulate them around. Is anyone familiar with this? Anybody know what's going on? And we would talk about it and then just the chair would sign it.
okay.
The chair would sign it.
What they're now trying to do is move this electronically and get them done a little faster. So, all right, that segues into another discussion topic of using town email. Susan and I check our town email at least on a daily basis. So is that something, the routing slip is now being published to that? Is that something that
Sure.
you would look at? Or the other alternative is when Susan and I see there's something in email, we would send something out on our text messaging group, and that would allow you to go and take a look at it.
I have my correspondence sent to my town email address and to my work email address.
Yes,
So that there's not a chance of me missing it, and all the text messages that
The group text.
the group texts, they go to my work cell phone number.
Okay.
So just so that you know, I answer every call on my work cell phone because I have to. Even though I get a large amount of, I can't say it on the air, calls.
Yep.
My personal phone, if I don't recognize the number, I don't pick up. So the way I'm being notified works for me, as long as we keep.
So, the routing slips are a process that happens at the end of the year, every year. So the board of selectmen has to approve, either alcohol licenses, class 2 licenses, common vic licenses, depending on the situation. So they come out in the fall because they have to be renewed before the end of the year. So these places can have their liquor licenses and used car and new car or whatever. So maybe what we could do is, when they come out, we could, the requests could be printed out and just brought to the next meeting, and everyone could, you can present it, and then everyone can talk about it if there's any issues, and then just the chair ends up signing it, or if in the chair's absence, it's like the chair. We've done that in the past. It used to be a paper form, remember the paper that used to get circulated? But now that it's electronic, we could just print a list of them, and they could, the chair could talk about it, and we could discuss it, and then if anyone has any issues, someone could mention it. If not, then they can act. That's probably the best way to do it in electronic age
Okay.
now.
I agree.
well, okay, so Maya, here's an action item for you. Uh, For the next couple of weeks, there's going to be these routing slips that are gonna get done. I will reply to the one that we already have and forward that. We're going to want you to print out a copy of that so that it can be reviewed by people at this meeting, and then, so when you are preparing for our Thursday night meetings, if there's a routing slip, we'll want you to print that out. We only need one copy of this because we'll just pass it around. Okay.
I do have copies of September 22nd. Would you like me to get those?
If you can print out 5 copies of that, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
sure.
that is already printed.
Oh, okay,
Okay, go get that.
okay, yeah, well, then we can go and accept those particular minutes.
Okay.
All right, let's see. So, the other thing that I would point out is, to encourage people to use town email. You said something last night at the meeting about town email.
Yeah, I haven't had my email since I went on,
Okay,
so Lonnie's gonna,
okay,
fix it.
and that guy over there too. His town email was broken or he can't log into it.
That's a world bad problem. I
Yeah,
can't.
Lonnie said he was gonna look at
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
All right,
You have a private email?
I do, but they don't want it going to private,
Well, mine goes to.
no,
I know. but I
Well,
got
it's not for your-
chastised last night.
no, here's the distinction.
If you want here.
Here is the distinction, and it is,
Chairman of the.
Select.
the chairman's
He wanted-
concern was for freedom of information
Yeah.
purposes and for open meetings. So here is, I know about this because I do this for a living. Here is the problem, here's the situation. The goal is that any email that the Conservation Commission uses to conduct town business, it goes through the mendonma.gov email address. You are allowed to have your mendonma.gov email forwarded to your private account. So when you get your mendonma.gov thing set up, you can then have that sent to a Gmail account, an Outlook account, wherever you read your personal email. When you reply to that email, preferably you log into the Mendon MA Outlook system, but if you cannot, you must include the Mendon Conservation Committee
Email.
in your reply so that your
It's logged.
Conservation
Right.
Commission goes through. And the purpose is that if we have a freedom of information request, broadband and the town can very easily say, oh, here's all of the email. And there isn't a question of, well, Carl sent with his Gmail account something private to Tim and his conducted, no, you don't. You want to avoid
Backdoor
that.
deals here.
Likewise,
Clinton did it.
yes,
He still does.
and we're not Hillary, I hold myself to a higher bar.
Good.
Likewise, I will be very careful to make sure that we only use our text messaging for notifications and information. If somebody starts trying to discuss business, I will stomp on it real hard
Sure.
and say, hey,
Right, because we,
That's open meeting law.
yeah,
you can't make decisions like that. But to pass on information,
yes,
it's like, hey, we're meeting for a site walk.
yes, exactly. Or I need someone else for a quorum, show up. Or if we need to communicate with Maya. All right, what's our time check? 4 more minutes.
That's good. So dates, for meetings, are we, how far ahead are we?
We should be until at least the end of the year, but I'll wait until, Susan, did you work with Maya on that?
They showed me now on
Work.
for November's meeting dates.
But I did, like, you know, before Maya had come aboard, I did tell Ellen to hold our spots, you know, to the second and then whatever the
Second.
fourth or whatever it is, Thursdays. We had a spot.
November's a tough month for everybody. I think, just-
Right.
Sorry, hang on.
Really? Oh, wait.
So it's probably the third and maybe it's the 17th. No, not the third, it's the 10th. And the 24th.
It should be the second.
Thanksgiving is
Okay,
24th.
just.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
The day after Thanksgiving.
24th, this thing.
Oh, it is Thanksgiving. So that's fine.
Well, it didn't work, but I think it's on.
Thank you.
Oh, really?
So
Your son?
this is working now. I'm gonna, maybe some information that I'll set, but I can come back and help show.
So we have a event on that. So
Worst case, then you text
Justin. Hey.
Make sure it's closed out.
Yeah.
Great. Another one. Do any day.
Tim, you don't want to bring a little turkey sandwich and have a meeting?
I think we'll say that we won't have a meeting that day and speak.
Yeah.
Or whether we have that as a schedule.
All right, so there is no meeting at this point for the last week. Last full week.
So as it stands right now, we only have one meeting.
Right, I didn't know if we wanted to meet, you know.
See it comes out, I guess.
I guess we'll see what's the agenda.
Yeah.
is.
I mean, if something's pressing. Long as we get,
No. Did you hear about anybody coming to a meeting for
Today's
this?
the 10th.
You mean one of the selectmen?
No. Anybody else for Conservation Commission?
We're supposed to be invited to the next select board meeting.
One of the other members replied last night or this morning to Mike Maroli, and Mike said, yeah, the Conservation Commission is meeting and talking about that. And I sent him an email saying, yeah, we're meeting in this room and here, the link is there. So we'll see if he shows up or not.
So here's a question. There's an open position that was vacated. Is there any reason not to fill that position?
Well, let me just,
Jim, what would be-
yeah, there is a written. Oh, right here.
I printed out a copy of these. You can take a look at this. This is the official policy, and I'm going to be writing up something to the Board of Selectmen, pointing out that what I would like them to do in order to follow this policy when they next discuss appointing people to the Conservation Commission,
Okay,
because they are not in compliance
okay.
as of last night's meeting.
That's, I was gonna ask you, a little break in the action, if anybody heard anything, are they appointing you or
No, that's one of the things we will discuss.
Oh, neutral?
I will be, that's one of the things we will discuss when we get to agenda item number 5, items not anticipated 48 hours in advance, but
We
it's now.
scale boss?
I just want to know,
That's just like an answer.
I don't know what we're going to discuss.
Yep. Well, it's now 7:15, which means we now are coming to the open public hearings, public meetings. Do we have people on the Zoom call who are here for,
DT.
47 Milford Street.
can you click the button that says people so we can see the names of the people who are in chat? Okay, so we see Nick Erskine and Denise Tizzy. Nick Erskine, are you here for a particular public hearing? Okay. And Denise is here for, Maya, which one is she here for?
Oh, 47.
Okay, and you're here for which?
47 mil.
Okay, well, we'll start at 7:15. You're listed first. We'll now open the public hearing for 47 Milford Street. Canna Pre-Per Partners, represented by Denise Tees. Now make your presentation.
Excellent. My name is Barry Atchison. I work for WDA Design Group. We're the civil engineers on the project for the cannabis shop. And we're here just to give you guys an update where we are on the project. We've had some minor changes.
Can you, give us a little quick previous history, so that
Yep.
I'm not quite sure.
You're unfortunately gonna be.
Gary, do you want me to do this?
You got it, I do. Sorry for holding up if you guys don't mind either way. No, yeah, I'm good. I'm just gonna point. That's all right. If you want to come to the corner. Can you see them? I can approach you too. Yeah, I know, sorry. All right, I'm fairly new on the project, as of about a year ago anyways, and I know this came to the Conservation Commission of the town of Mendon sometime before that. But from what little background I can give you, it used to be a facility, it used to be a Taylor rental
Okay.
up on Milford Street, right on the road here.
Yeah.
The Cannabis Commission and so forth have come in and made some modifications to the building. We have a special permit for the site. And since we are near the wetlands and so forth, we came in and got approval for you guys to do some changes. Since that time, and I know we sent a update plan to the Conservation Commission sometime in February, or March of this year, because we had to make some other changes. So I can run through where we are right now on the changes. The front part of the building, the face of the road, here's Milford Street. The front part of the building is currently going to be a retail business for selling product and so forth. That has been built. The interior is ready. I believe they're looking for their certificate of occupancies and dealing with the Cannabis Commission to get their stuff. Now they have.
The building department.
So they, now they have a few other entities. There's 2 of them that have come in, and one's going to be a delivery service. They're gonna take over about 700 square feet of what initially was presented to you as storage previously. And then the rest of the building is gonna be a manufacturing press type thing. My understanding, it's a frozen product they get delivered. It gets into out of a few things, it gets pressed out. They take the oils and then they ship the oils off for somebody else to make whatever other product.
Is that completely separate from the cannabis shop?
Yes,
Separate different companies?
2 to 3 different companies.
What kind of oils?
Cannabis, I don't know.
Oh,
THC was like.
Yeah. THC or whatever comes out of
TBD.
the,
So one company is called Linden Extractors and another company is called Phoenix Remedies.
that's correct.
What's the third company that's there? Cannabis, Cannapreneur?
Cannapreneur, yeah.
Okay. So Cannapreneur is the landlord and they're going to be having the two other businesses in their facility.
I believe that's how
Okay.
that's working.
Well, it makes sense to get all three marijuana related businesses in the same place for security reasons, so I can see why this makes sense.
Yes. So, because of the timing and so forth of when these other two entities came in, we've made some changes. Now they're going to site plan approval to get approved for those. And just wanted to give you an update. So with this opening up, what they have not done to date is install the rain garden. That will be still installed and the limits of work currently will be the same.
Oh, yeah, no, it's coming back.
Yeah. Also, after discussion, there's a gas easement. There's two high pressure gas mains that run through there.
Yeah, that's correct.
You can't touch a thing. They will not let us plant anything, dig anything, remove anything, higher or lower.
Yep.
So that impacted some of the work that initially to get stormwater down and around. So what we've done is installed a channel drain in the middle of the parking lot. And next year, when they come in and restore the driveway with some new bituminous, everything will slope to that and then flow into the rain garden. The other change is off on the back side. Well, we're still gonna remove the gravel and pavement that's there. On this edge, it'll be a 5 by 35 foot wide, right up against the building, a concrete pad for 2 chiller units and 4 condenser units for their process. I just wanted to let you guys know that was in the works. It will not affect the length, width, and volume that's going to our rain garden. Although we'll be close to it, but we will make that work
Can you supply us the detail sheet?
of,
Yeah,
yes, can.
where it's got footings, slab on.
It's gonna be a slab on grade, 6-inch thick with steel in the middle.
Supply us to add to the print,
Yep,
detail showing it.
yep.
Are there any other changes other than those?
Yes, because of electrical, in the back, they'll be putting a generator. Probably, or today, I think that's initially it was gonna be gas, might be diesel. I don't know, but irregardless, it'll be a double walled tank diesel tank, and
So
so
that'll be on a pad also.
that will be on a pad and we can supply all the. Gotcha.
So these pads, are they going to be within 100 feet?
Yes,
Okay, are they going to be within 50 feet?
no,
All right.
I have a question. The equipment on the pads, they have any sort of oils, refrigerants that could be accidentally released to the system leading out into wetlands?
not exactly sure what will be in there. There'll probably be some, I think, as far as knowing what they are, there'll probably some Freon or whatever, but
Well, that's a gas.
yeah.
It's like a hydro.
I know it's an environment, usually environmentally safe, not like the old Freon and the
Yeah.
day before, day old stuff, so.
If they're doing natural gas or propane and there's a leak, goes in the air, if there's diesel, then I would look to see whether there's some way to prevent a diesel leak from
Or hydraulic.
going into the wetlands.
Right.
And especially with the generator,
Yes.
I would suggest have a impervious coat.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and usually the tanks themselves also are double wall contained
Right,
with usually indicator of
sure,
presence of oil in between, so.
sure. But a 6-inch high curve monolithically poured with the slab, so there's no cold joint.
Correct.
And liquid to feed through.
Yep.
Would be It's like, you said that.
So the drain, okay. Where's the water gonna go if there's no rain garden?
The rain garden will go in right now. It's on the dead end of there at the moment. Until the springtime, because they didn't want to put that in now because they know they're coming through with some equipment in place, all this
So there's
stuff.
no drain.
There is a drain in there now. Today, there is a drain
So it's not
It's
gonna
stopped.
be landscape.
No.
Both.
until the spring. Front of the unit is currently landscaped, sides are all landscaped. At the moment, for this year, or they plan on, crack sealing what they can, sealing the parking lots, and then I believe there's a coat just to clean it up, make it look good. And then the following year, once we finish up all the remaining portions of work, then the pavement will be, milled, overlaid, and everything sloped into the, rain garden.
One more question. So, are there any overhead doors that
There
vehicles
is.
will be entering the building?
Yes, there is.
Any oil separators for those overhead doors?
There is not at the moment.
What's that mean?
So, when you have an overhead door and you're parking vehicles on the inside of the building, if there's ever a compromise in a tank, it avoids it from going outside.
If the gas tank leaks.
Or oil or something, it'll
No
go
oil
into a
water
drain, an oil separated drain, that's required. Now, this is a remodel, I get that, but it is a reuse.
We'll look into that. The,
Can I just,
no on, there's two doors. There's a door here, but there's no intention of bringing cars inside or out through it. More of just, bringing product and so forth.
If it's an overhead door, it would require bollards,
Okay,
so they
yeah,
don't have
don't
to.
go enter.
Change the door.
Sorry, did you just raising your hand?
Yeah.
Oh.
Go Denise?
I'm sorry, yes, I was going to mention that we aren't going to be storing or having vehicles inside the building. They would just load back end in, load the product and then leave. So there wouldn't be any storage in there. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
That requires an oil
Yeah.
separator.
Okay.
I am.
Yep, a member of the audience.
Bob Sweet, 50 Milford Street. That's planning board, and isn't it going to be some kind of exterior parking area
Yes,
where you're gonna park the vehicles?
yes.
So are you still using the interior parking one as well?
There will be no cars entering into the building while there'll be overhead doors. Just because they don't want to close them up or anything like that, but overhead and then lifting product in. Backing up to the door and delivery. So there's, what they're planning is in front of here for the delivery fellow. Is with Sallyport, it's basically a chain link fence with slats to make it look good in building. And he'll have a roll-up door that he can slide his car in, no cover, no roof, it's still over the parking area. But again, they don't want to screw around with the other doors on the building, so there will be technically a overhead door.
The snowplow guy is gonna be mad at you for that.
It's actually.
Yeah.
Just wondering, if it's.
We expect the planning board to catch that.
Generally, the site plan would normally show that if their plan, if their business plan is to have vehicles enter the building. And it's been a remodel, it really should be, plumbing code would pick it up. Is there any, they must have done bathrooms and everything, new bathrooms in there.
New bathrooms will go in and we'll tie those into the existing septic system.
They could do a small system too. They could do almost like an oil tank with a pump. And Mike's probably, if it's one or two doors, they're allowed to do, doesn't have to be a tank, exterior tank. It can be an interior tank with an alarm, that indicates when it's full and needs to be emptied.
Right.
Onto a trough drain.
Yep.
I don't know if vehicles are stored in there overnight.
So the conservation. Commission
Not inside the building.
Is.
Nothing, like I said, nothing will go into the building as far as transfer a vehicle from outside to inside or vice versa. least that's the intention.
So the Conservation Commission concern is if there are vehicles, trucks that are parking that, whether they're inside or outside, the leakage from those trucks, hydraulic fluids, diesel, as well as any issues with the new generators you're planning, don't contaminate the wetlands.
Correct.
On the agenda, it says you're requesting a delay of conservation work. I think what you're asking instead is you're saying you want to wait until the planning board finishes what they're doing. When you get planning board approval, you would then need to come before us describing these additional changes you're making, amend the existing order of conditions and add in some of the things we've been discussing. And at that point, you'd be able to do your work. Is that match what you're expecting?
Sounds about right. More, I guess that could go that way. It was, my intention was more to update you guys. It's a similar kind of project. We're not changing the overall
Well,
exterior layout with the exception. I
the
get it.
problem is you are making,
Sorry to interrupt. Have we issued a
Order of conditions.
order of condition?
I assume we did something like that back in.
I thought you might have been here to extend it. So it's a new order.
Right, well, but here's.
Well,
the
no, it's
problem.
modifying an existing.
Here's the problem. When you build a generator pad within 100 feet of the wetlands, that is a deviation from what we approved back in February. Delaying the rain garden, that's okay, as long as by the time we give our final sign off, the rain garden is in place. But when you are going and adding new features within 100 feet of the wetlands, you have to come back before us and get an amended order of conditions.
Okay.
That is correct.
And that is when we would say things like, well, if you're building a pad and you think it may be diesel, we want you to do the following things. If you're building a pad for parking, we want the following things to drain off any diesel fuel kind of thing.
Mr. Chair, question.
Yes.
And so if it's minor or not two, he shouldn't have to have a new hearing. But at some point, someone's got to make a decision. No, that's a major change. And the neighbors might have something to say. But if it's just a pad under something or something required by the planning board,
Amendment.
amendment.
We would see what the decision of the planning board is and whether they address issues like the plumbing things you were raising, if they discuss the pad. But I would encourage your next set of site engineering plans to be very specific about what you're doing within 100 feet of the wetlands, because that's what we're going to want to scrutinize. So the more work you do up front, the less likely you are to have a full-blown public hearing in front of us again.
Fair enough.
Any other comments? Okay, anyone, Nick Erskine, are you speaking yet? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I think he's just on their own, I think it's a police channel.
Oh, okay, that would make sense.
I have a question.
Yep.
In the spring, there's a, what do you call it? Perennial stream that's behind. How close is the pad to that? The 5 by 35 pad, how close is that gonna be to that? Do you have any idea?
Well, the pad was outside the 50-foot.
Yeah, so. Or 50 feet.
We'll want to look the measurement. The.
Oh, you have a measurement of the building?
I had, it's,
That's 5
what we're conceivably doing is just, we're putting something in, but there's pavement, it's been disturbed
Sure.
before, and we're considerably restoring a lot of your buffer zones in front of it, so.
Right, I don't think we're going to have a problem allowing you to do it. It's just we wanted.
You want to see the numbers.
Yeah, the custom that the Mendon Committee, Conservation Committee follows is we will work very, if you want to work between 150 feet, we'll say things like barriers and whatnot. If you want to do things within 50 and 25, we give you a lot more scrutiny. And if you want to be within 25, you have to have a compelling reason.
Understandable.
This is our way of not stifling business.
So when does this plan to open? What the first part of it?
I think in another month.
They wait for the commission.
Uh,
So they're done with the retail store.
They've done, the retail store is all done. I think they're working final stuff out with a cannabis commission.
Grand opening for Thanksgiving, Christmas.
So when do you need planning board approval before putting in the pads for the generator and the HVAC?
Right.
Okay, so after you get those, then you're in a position to come and send us an email and Maya will notify us and we'll get you on the next agenda. And at that point,
Yeah, added to the plan.
Yes.
Add the details. for the-
if you're able to email us and Maya can provide us electronically the updated plan, then Bill or other people may be able to see it and decide whether we want to proceed with just a full public hearing or whether we do it as part of an amendment.
And would that be an amendment be kind of an administrative kind of
You,
like this, like
we
all
would ask you to notify abutters, get green cards, and reopen another public hearing, but that determination will say, is the work that you are proposing to do different, sufficient that it's going to impact abutters or not? And if it's not, then we'll handle it internally.
Okay.
But it doesn't look like, it's going to be that big of an impact.
No.
If you were saying, well, we want to put up a few more trees.
Well, it's
or
right
fence.
against the building, so
Yeah.
it's right against the building, you see that. So.
If you were changing the landscape, doing serious grading, then that would be something the butters would be concerned about. All right, any other comments before we conclude? And we don't need a motion for this. Instead, we will expect to hear from you after your planning board process is complete. We're downstream from that.
Excellent.
All
Thank you
right,
very much for your time. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right. It is now 7:37. We'll move on to the public hearing, 3 Tower Road, applicants Christine and Daniel Switz. Is this something that they want us to sign?
I wasn't sure if you want to discuss it.
Okay, well, pass them around.
Why are we dealing with this? We tell, what's the story behind it? Other than he went and got a variance for a common driveway. Cause he's got 2 lots, and not enough room,
They like to split off a house and build single family home.
but it's going through a wetland. Doesn't affect the,
Doesn't mention.
that's what I'm saying, why are we, why are we entertaining
Is
this?
this a notice of determination? Of applicability, is that what it is?
Well,
We don't
the
have a
motion,
plan.
the ZBA made the decision, right? There was
No, they gave him relief, but that doesn't have anything to do with wetlands, so.
Maya, how did this end up on our agenda? Did someone ask you to put it on?
No, I saw it, it came up, in the email, so I wasn't sure if it was
Okay.
necessary to
Oh,
bring up.
Yes, because we get it.
So everybody gets notified, all the boards get notified, so
Oh.
they're just notifying us that the ZBA had ruled on this and it was approved or disapproved. So they notify all the boards, so this would normally go under,
Correspondence or
yes.
whatever.
Yes.
Because actually more important would be before the hearing, right?
Yes.
That then if we had issues, we could get input into that hearing.
Yes,
So
that's
this
right.
really isn't a public
Yeah.
hearing after all. So we'll get you up to speed on what the difference is between a public hearing and what goes into other parts of the meeting agenda. All right, likewise, 30 Uxbridge Road, you have paperwork for that?
I know that they reached out about, having a site visit so that they could continue, so I wanted to, bring that up in case we could schedule a site visit for them. So they had, a representative had reached out.
Well, it says received signature of certificate of compliance. Does that mean we signed a certificate of compliance? Because usually we would have to make out.
Or the form, maybe you could have received the form from an engineer, we could have received it from an engineer requesting
Right.
that, or They're requesting a site visit for an inspection for a final, right?
Yes,
30 Oxford Road.
That's Route 16. So which one is,
So 30.
Uxbridge Road begins when? At
Right
the
at
gas station?
Harvard Ave.
Hartford Ave.
I think this is also, it's connected to 3 Forest Park Drive. It was on our last meeting agenda.
Yeah, well, that was wrong, because, of course, that is a different part of town.
30 Oxford.
Isn't that the new development, that other, what's that, that they blasted on the north side there? 16 heading to Uxbridge.
Oh, across the street from the pizza place before George's?
No, same side as George's.
Oh, the other.
Oh, where the blasting is?
The other campus place?
Yeah, but they're not.
It's another cannabis.
They're not even close to the situation. It's all,
It's a wetland.
it's all torn up still.
30 Uxbridge Road, I don't know.
I think there was, in the last meeting, they had the certificate of compliance that was issued, I think in 1994.
I think this is an old,
Oh, that could be,
Enforcement.
yes, that could be.
this is an
Were
old,
they working, aren't they?
Yeah, there's a PSL on that site.
I believe,
Well, that's
from
exciting.
what Maya just said, it's an old certificate of compliance.
Yeah, 30 is right near the boathouse.
In the boathouse?
Yeah.
So it's not the lot that we're thinking of. Is it the same side of the boathouse?
Yes,
South side of,
just before it, like the one of the houses before it.
oh, they took down the tree, right? Did they tear down a building? Wasn't that?
No, it's not that far down.
Before, it's right before Taft.
Taft.
Yeah. Westbound.
Or after
Does Damon?
those 2 houses. That are right there.
Um,
I think one of them coming
This
from
one
us.
house
Yeah.
right there. Yeah, somebody.
It was a tight site and,
Oh, we don't know, there's nobody here online, for it. I can shed any light on it, so.
well, we should go and do a site visit. You should go by 30 Uxbridge Road, and obviously there's a project there that we've done work, so if you can.
Am I authorized to do a site visit since I?
I should hope so. There should be a car available to you. And I would encourage you, especially after rain events, if you come in, that go around at any significant open sites and you don't have to ask permission to go on, but you probably should, right?
So I could just go ahead and.
If the sign is there and you're doing your job and you're.
What I would recommend is you get Damon or Bill or one of the other experienced people looking at rain events, or either to go with you.
Right, it's usually not good advice to go by yourself, especially if you're going to be confronting an angry owner or a neighbor.
Yeah.
But if it's just checking out or drive by, you should feel that you should have the right to.
Yeah, I think she's trying to get up to speed on paperwork and learn the paperwork now, but yeah, probably in the future, sure.
The
Yeah, I
other,
don't have a problem with that.
do you have a
You know,
town
the town.
ID card?
Um.
Okay. At some point, you should get
You can get one from the police station.
to talk to Kim
People
or
are gonna have.
the HR person about getting a card saying.
Oh, no, yeah, we got. It's in there
Your
too.
role in
Might be
government that way is if you are on a site visit and someone asks, why are you here?
Yeah,
And
sure, yeah.
say you're there as part of the conservation committee.
Look at this.
I have a little tiny one that they use.
I guess I thought it had to be 14 or I don't know, one of the.
That was 15 years
You
ago.
get.
Yes, we,
Oh, okay.
And maybe one of them, if the gentleman's here that does it.
for your first couple of visits, you should have another person going and they would be able to tell you what to look for and show you what to look for so that if you were making a site visit, you'd be able to come back and give a report to the rest of us on what you observed. It's why I don't do site visits alone, because I don't know what I'm supposed to be reporting on. So, all right,
Next,
all right.
But just procedurally, someone's got to go should, and go to see that the silt was up like we did on Mr. Sweet's job. And someone at the end of the job needs to go and see that the grass is grown. We can sign off on it. So it's,
Okay, 7:45, we'll now move to accept minute meetings not of 10:13. We have a copy of the minute meetings from 9:22. I just reviewed them, just giving them an email, Susan, I've looked at these before.
Yeah, that was like 3 or 4 of them, I think.
very thorough.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of September 22nd, 2022.
A second,
Second.
moved and seconded, any discussion? All
Good
in
job.
favor?
Good job.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations. Your first set of minutes has been approved. And you should work with Susan or Bill McHenry about how to get this uploaded to the right place on the town website. And may we catch up on all of the other ones for the past year.
Yeah, before the few that I had put up, I told Damon, I think you had put up. But that's on, I don't know if that was for price.
All right, catching up on something we discussed while Peter is out. In terms of town meeting. We will be, if you do not log into the mendonma.gov town email, you are allowed to forward that to your own private email. However, we ask that when you're replying to Conservation Commission business, you either log into the Outlook town email, or if you're replying from your private email, you must include the Conservation Commission mail alias. That way it goes through the town website so that if we get a Freedom of Information request, we can get that. It avoids the issue of 2 members of the committee conducting business through their private emails, not going through the town website.
I'm using the site, I'm on now, so.
Okay. So when I am sending out email, I'm no longer copying people's private emails or Gmails or whatnot. We have a Conservation Commission members, and that includes all of us, and you can individually set that up to forward. And in fact, I do that. That's how sometimes I'm able to reply from my work email. If it's sufficiently important. All right. Other activities since last meeting, we got a email from a lawyer representing lawyer Rohan, Tokyo, and Morgan that were copied on as the committee regarding 3537 Hastings. I looked through the document. At the moment, there's no activity that the Conservation Commission needs to take on this. It was just given as a notification to us.
Mr. Chair, I should be stepping down, so. Stepping down, I'm speaking now as a private citizen.
Okay.
I sent by certified mail an appeal, or actually a notice to DEP and to the Concom and to the applicant 2 weeks ago. And I think you got it Thursday before our meeting. And it wasn't brought to our attention, that agenda, because you were kind of late, and I certainly didn't bring it up. So you should have that letter in front of you, because this is a response to the appeal, basically, that I filed.
I didn't read the letter. It was, I think it was sent back in the mail several times. It was like postmarked like a couple of times. I can go get the letter. It's on the desk right now.
Well, I don't know if you want to discuss that.
The committee doesn't have to take any action on this notice.
Right, it's DEP, it's in DEP's hands.
Yeah, at some point, the DEP may make a decision which bounces things back into our court, but at the moment, this is strictly information. All right, so that's correspondence we received. Next action, a discussion of the discussion at last night's Board of Selectmen meeting regarding our membership makeup. First, first agenda item they took up was whether or not to make the town bylaw prescriptive or retroactive. Whether that would allow Damon to finish out his term, or whether he would be subject to the bylaw and he should be removed from the Conservation Commission board. After much discussion, including a lot of hair splitting by the town council, a motion was made and passed to apply the town bylaw proscriptively. The result of which is that Damon will be able to finish out his term. However, if he wishes to be reappointed, he would have to step down from his elected position. The same will apply to the person on the ZBA. So that takes care of that particular issue. The second thing they discussed was Tim McCarty's position about whether he would be reappointed or not. And they punted that to the next meeting. They interviewed him, but they decided to interview other candidates before making a determination. So what I would like to do at our meeting now is to have the same. My goal is that I am able to send a letter to the Board of Selectmen saying whether we approve of Tim McCarty being reappointed or not. So I will now open the discussion. Tim, do you wish to start and saying anything? Is it okay to say that?
Well, I'll say the same thing. I'm on the Concom because I enjoy doing it.
How long you been on?
16 years, just over 16 years.
Been a good 16 years.
I want to continue to stay on if they decide to reappoint me. It's unfortunate. I would like to stay on.
Well, I think having Tim on is an asset because he's a building inspector. And as you've seen with the previous applicant, Tim was able to contribute some valuable information. Our job here is not only to protect the wetlands, but also inform and teach the public and guide them through the process. So I think having Tim on the board is an asset.
Okay. The distinction I would draw here is I propose that I write the following letter. On the subject of Tim McCarty, we believe he is a valuable addition to the board and recommend that he be reappointed, and will be sad and disappointed if he is not. Something along those lines. In the matter of the other position, we have interviewed you and the other candidate. We are confident that either one of them would be a valuable addition to the board. So I want to draw the distinguish between the reappointment position and filling the resignation.
Did the select board invite the other candidates? No.
Well, now we come to the that I brought out. There is in fact a written town policy on policy and procedures for appointing people to committees, including the Conservation Commission. And it turns out the Board of Selectmen hasn't been following all of those things. In fact, one of the things I will point out is that in order to follow the policy, that when they next put something on the agenda for appointing members to the Conservation Commission, they should notify us in writing and invite us to the meeting and invite us to participate in their discussion and interview process.
Yeah.
So,
The policy is.
and I will point that out. They will undoubtedly do that. One of the things you were asking is how long is this going to drag out? Well, there's a thing in here that says the Board of Selectmen can drag it out as long.
I'm at all the meetings anyway, so.
Yeah.
At this point, it is what it is.
Yep.
I don't know if you made a vote or if there's a formal response, because I support the support for Tim. I would bring up the question, like a theoretical question almost. If you're on this board and you don't do bad, is it yours for life? as long as you are doing it. And I would say no, there should be a balance. And it's up to the selectmen to find that balance, and whether it's a political or too many developers, or you want no women. I don't know what the filter should be, but I think there ought to be, and it's probably politics. And that's why it's the selectmen's job.
Purpose of this.
Well, and so there should be, I don't know, it shouldn't be an unwritten law. No, I've been here for 20 years. It's mine until I do something bad. I don't know.
Let me answer that, because I have written letters of recommendation for HR purposes. Let us take a hypothetical case of that Emilio were up for reappointment after having been absent and not participating in any business. The letter that I would write to the selectmen would be something along the lines of, we recognize that Emilio is up for reappointment. And that's it.
You wouldn't mention that, hey, he hasn't been attending 3 out of the last 5 meetings? That, no, we think he's good because this, or no, maybe you are, I don't know. They should be looking for us for input, and they should be having a cast of characters.
Well,
These are people who want to be re-upped, and here are some people who volunteered to be new, and each year they should make that decision, and a term is good for 3 years unless you do something wrong, and whatever.
Why would you just write that and not, the board recommends that you reappoint him or not reappoint him? What's the difference
Well,
between mine and his?
we would have to have a vote saying whether we would recommend against it. So in that sense, when we're done with the discussion, we will have a motion made to officially recommend that we do that.
Absolutely.
And
I
then that would get
I was
voted
gonna bring that up.
by the time we finish.
You can't arbitrarily, on your own, speak by any member of this board.
Right. I have
Gotta
to have a
go
motion that
for,
allows
we all have to agree. Again, formally, take a vote, but if you know we agree, then you say, certain that the rest of the board members feel the same way. If it was a vote, the board says this. Now, in answer to Peter's statement, reasoning, it's no secret I'm the senior member of this board. When I get on, nobody else wanted to sit on this. And in the 35 years I've held this position, 35 plus, it's difficult to get people, as we have seen, to make a commitment to be here every second and fourth Thursday of the month. Not only with this particular committee, but any committee. Again, I'm not bringing it up for any other reason. For an example, a lot of people serve on a lot of committees because nobody,
It's a small town.
right? And nobody wants to, I mean, it's not small anymore, 6,000 people.
Take time out of their lives.
Right, to be involved and do what you want to do. Now, I'm not saying this, I'm not looking for any, oh, wow, yeah. But I serve on the finance committee. I served on 2 building committees, so have you. Ran and won a selectman seat, not once, but twice. And during that time, I was a selectman. In order for me to continue serving on this board, I had to ask at an annual town meeting,
Special permission.
permission from the voters in that room. And I did it not once, I had to do it twice because I served 2 back-to-back terms as a selectman. And both times, there was discussion back and forth. And fortunately for me, because again, unlike you, Tim, I enjoy this position. My background, I think again, my feeling is we gotta protect the wetlands, but we also gotta educate and help the taxpayer. So this recent turn of events of a bylaw stopping people, I didn't, I don't agree
It's
with
not
it.
the
I
way,
should,
it's not the way it should have been done. for
no,
sure.
absolutely not.
But it was a citizen's
Right.
petition.
Right.
It passed, so here we are.
And, right, here we are until somebody
Makes another one.
makes another one.
My
to
expectation
nullify.
is that the next couple of months, certain people will come up with an alternative bylaw that goes through town council that applies to all town committees, not just specific ones.
That would make more sense.
Yes. The town, I heard, at one point had a bylaws review committee. It may be time to have another one.
Now, again, as we saw tonight, we had an applicant that still has some planning board issues. How convenient that we have a planning board member on the board that can keep us up to speed on what's going on and nothing falls through the crack. Well, that luxury isn't gonna last forever for us because of this particular,
It's been helpful
Turn
in
of
a lot
events.
of different situations.
absolutely, over the years, absolutely.
Yeah, because they know what's going on.
Yes. Well, we get stuck on a spot and then that person will speak up and say, oh, wait a minute, they were in front of them and this is what they're doing, or this is what they did,
Exactly.
whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very helpful, that's for sure.
And furthermore, not criticizing anybody, but people have made promises. We're supposed to have a liaison here. That's been going on. I heard that 3-4 months ago. I don't think I've missed any meetings.
It was one night, there was one, yeah.
No, Damon wasn't the official liaison. He was just
No.
here.
Lonnie, but he was there.
Sorry, Lonnie.
That, right, he wasn't the
He
official.
wasn't the official.
I know, he wasn't chosen to do it, but he showed up.
So
So,
help us get on.
It stayed, it stayed, yeah.
so again, it leads me to believe there's more to this than meets the eye, which again, it's not a conservation. You would say it's not a conservation issue, but you know what? It is an issue. It's an issue with this committee and with all committees in this.
Yeah, it affects the way we do business. It's not.
Exactly. I think the diversity that this board has had over the years has been very helpful.
I would suggest it wasn't diverse enough, but you don't even get it.
All right, I will entertain a motion that we direct the chair to write a letter to the selectmen saying, quote, "We strongly recommend," quote, "reappointing Tim McCartney."
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor? Opposed?
aye. I'm sorry, I meant to say, aye for favor.
All right, thank you.
I'm going to abstain on that, if you don't mind.
Okay, so have that recording as an abstention, and David is absent. All right, There's one other thing. Oh, yes, something about last week.
What was last night?
Board of Selectmen meeting, and they were discussing personnel matters relating to us. As part of whether the bylaw would be prescriptive. One of the issues that came up at last night's meeting is the chair of the select board made some comments about whether the chair, it is appropriate for the chair to vote on matters or not. Which I'm now getting different messages from different peoples, whether there is a custom on the select board to follow town meeting time rules, whether it is the custom to follow Robert's orders. In any case, my expectation is that once we get up to our full membership, we will have a conversation about what people feel the appropriate role of the chair is. For plenary sessions like town meetings, the chair or the moderator only votes in order to break a tie. It's not otherwise get involved because they are acting as moderator. For smaller committees and select boards, the official Robert's rules position is that the chair is a member, just like any other member, entitled to make motions and vote as a full participant. However, boards may adopt policies or have customs where the chair does not do so except under certain circumstances.
Right.
So I will want to clarify that once we
And
get
that-
to the members.
What I'm gonna say is, that's the discretion of the board. At every reorganization, all boards are supposed to reorganize
And agree on what rules kind of govern.
once a year.
So I,
You know what I mean? Like,
yes, I agree.
so next year, we're gonna sit and go, okay, hey, it's time to reorganize next time.
But my
Okay.
understanding, that makes sense, but we're a 5-member board or 7-member. So I would think that the chair should probably step back and not participate. If it was a 3-member board, for sure.
Well, right now, we're 6 members. When we get 7 members, I will have an agenda item. I will put it on, we'll have that conversation. You will make your position, I will make my position, and at that point, you'll have had a flavor of the way I
And
can.
we'll vote to see what we do, because
Yes.
this is America. It's democracy in motion. But it's usually the discretion of each board. And I say that firsthand experience. And again, what happens a lot of time, in my early years sitting on this board, I was chairman for almost 12 years. Nobody else wanted to do it.
But I'm not aware that we have any set policy. Right?
No.
So it's never been written down.
It's the discretion of the board.
It nearly tripped up the select board last night, and so I wanted to. Then the recommendation from Robert's rules and other people who do parliamentary work is you have a conversation at the reorganization time, and that way, in the heat of the moment, when you have very divisive opinions, the chair is not appear to be saying, I voted, suck it.
Right. So again, what you're saying is, the key word was a recommendation from a.
Yes.
An informed body that's kind of guide, that gives you some guidance on
Yes.
how to run a formal meeting. It's not law. There's no law that says chairmans don't vote.
Right, what typically happens is that an organization will adopt a code, whether it's Robert's Rules Revised 1972, whether it's on meeting time for Massachusetts town meetings, or some other policy that the corporation or board has written and is codified. What I want to avoid is having an unwritten custom. And by explicitly having an agenda item in a meeting where we would have this conversation, and then it would be in minutes for the next, until the next reorg. So I expect that when we get to full 7 members, we'll have that.
At the next town meeting, whether it's a special or an annual. Can't remember if the moderator does this, but in my 40 years of living in town and going to 40 annual town meetings and many more special town meetings, previous moderators at the very beginning says we are operating this meeting under
Robert's rules?
No,
Town meeting.
town meeting. And after like the first couple of town meetings, where I started to get involved, I said, we did get this book.
What's the difference?
So you could read it and understand it.
Yep.
I have a copy.
Oh, yeah, I do too.
Right.
There are some very interesting differences between town meeting, and
Right.
Robert's rules.
But it's declared at the beginning of the meeting,
Yes.
which makes it, okay, this is what we're going.
And the reason you have to do that is because town meeting is plenary, meaning there is no authority over it. And therefore, the town meeting at the very beginning has the ability to say what rules they're going to operate.
The room constitution, yeah.
Pretty much, yes.
So if you think about it, that's the only fair way. You announce it, not halfway through a meeting, you go, oh, well, here are the rules, wait a minute. You know,
You do it before the heat of the moment.
right, so everybody's in agreement, and it's like playing a game. I'll play any game, just don't change the rules on me halfway through it.
Calvin Ball. All right, though that I believe are the 4 items that I raised as things that we needed to discuss. Are there other issues that people wish to bring up?
Just wanted to ask somebody how she's liking her job. Is there things we can do to help you or what's?
Oh, no, I mean, I definitely, apologize because last week I had gunnery training, which took me from Wednesday through Saturday.
What you get to shoot?
It was a 50 caliber.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I do apologize because, that I wasn't expecting the training to come into the week, so it affected my training with National Grid also. But actually I have a picture of it. Yeah, it was like a 30-pound machine gun.
So was it on?
Yeah, they had like a
So-
simulation.
Okay, so it's a tripod, not machine mounted.
No, well, I think you could put it on, yeah, no, sorry, I'm thinking, or Humvee
Or either Humvee or a Bradley, I don't think that.
I think it would be a Humvee,
Yeah.
but, we were doing some simulations, so we didn't actually put it on a vehicle, but we were shooting up in like Montpelier, Vermont. So up by the Canadian border, and, there was pretty, they didn't tell us that it'd be from Wednesday. And that kind of totally threw me, so I was trying to answer while we had some reception, I was like trying to do what I could from the phone, but, so I do apologize for that.
Yeah, there's some deer that's been eating my wife's hostas, if you
Oh.
could come and take care of it.
This would cut it in half.
There's enough coyotes floating around, they'll be gone.
Speaking for myself, I'm sure the rest of the board members, there's no need to apologize. We
You're
understand.
serving your
Not
country.
only that, we thank you for your service.
Thank you, no, I'm sorry that, it wasn't.
What Peter's trying to say is, anything that we can do to help you succeed in being our clerk, don't be
Make our
afraid.
job easy. Result, yeah.
Well, I-
Because there's a lot coming at you, so.
No, I know,
you know,
definitely, I'm sure, like, now I'm reflecting on the agenda, I'm sure is like, there's definitely a huge, learning curve and, yeah, I'm just trying to prioritize.
Well, have you had a chance to reach out to anyone at MACC? I don't know, maybe you haven't had any questions.
Well, I've been trying to meet up with the DEP, they actually were
There you
available last week, but then that's when I was in Vermont.
Okay,
And unfortunately with that, there was a huge, dead zone. So calling, and also I wasn't sure when they would pull us out for training, so it was kind of, and when I did have time, we were on the range, so it's very loud, so I couldn't call anyone.
well, I'd encourage you to reach out to whomever. DEP is the most likely, so, yeah.
Yeah.
From versus no.
I did, I spoke with, Judith Schmitz.
Yeah.
Oh, she's
our second.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
has
it's in
some,
sidewalk where her, some property off of Harvard was, I think it was. And, yeah, she's pretty cool.
yeah, she was, she had some questions about an ORAD, so I, clarified, from the minutes from September 22nd, so she wanted to know when that was signed. I think it was mentioned that, some of the committee members who were available signed, and then the following Monday it was signed, so that was information that needed the September 26th time. But I'm trying to get, meet with Mia McDonald, I was gonna try today, but, I also have to do a drug test for National Grid, so I wasn't sure if I had to do it today. And we've been out surveying, so today was, it was tough too, because with them, they'll keep me as long as it goes, and they won't, it depends on where we're surveying, so we're surveying out in Malden. So unfortunately, it's hard for me to, like, my schedule is in other people's hands. So
Well, is the schedule working out? Hopefully we're flexible, but I don't know. You're here, what, Monday, is it, or Tuesday?
What is the next day you expect to be amended? Nobody, change your schedule around.
So starting, next week, I can definitely do Fridays. I think National Grid prefers Fridays off, if that's okay.
Yep. Okay, so you're expecting next week you will be in the building across the street, not town hall, the building on the other side, Friday. What hours?
So I can do, I guess.
Avoid rush hour.
Oh, yeah, and likely I try to leave and get here around 8. So I'd probably leave around 7, because it's about an hour 14 without traffic, but with traffic, it's about 2 hours. I think on the way here is a little bit, about between 2 hours and 2.5. That's why my eyes are like perpetually red by the time I get here. You guys don't quite see me
When you feel comfortable with the commuting, then we want to post hours when we will have the office open on Fridays for members of the public to come in.
I can see, yeah, like a couple hours in the morning. It doesn't have to be all day, right? It's like 10 to 12, or I don't know.
At our next meeting, you'll have had 2 weeks of We've had a couple, at least one Friday, maybe two of commuting, and you can give us an idea of when you would like to post the public hours.
Yeah, I think definitely earlier, I think 8 o'clock is not a problem for me. And the earlier the better because I'm avoiding traffic, because I work at 7 for National Grid, so that time is okay. Yeah, they were,
Well, I think early works for people who want like trade.
Contractors
They
will
want
want
something, yeah, first thing in the morning.
Plus, I think Jack's here in the morning too, so then you're by yourself.
yeah, it's definitely, yeah, with yeah, last week with National Guard and with the training, there's still like, yeah, I'm on my coworker's schedule and he does 5 nines. So that's where trying to get my schedule hammered out, and my own was,
Yep.
just me.
When you're able to predict, or when you're able to propose Friday hours, then we run that by Kim and get her to sign off.
And where would I look, ask for 95? So that would be in the police station.
Police.
So, kind of like, I don't know if they do them anymore.
Okay, right there you go.
I ended up ordering one online for myself. Because I think he had a machine, I think it broke. So I think he just, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't even know they had those.
I'll,
If you're- The goal is that if you go to a site visit, something's required here.
ID card.
Yeah.
It's a
I'll forward you an email.
police officer, you can say, I'm here. on
Right,
business.
Yeah.
Does the town have a laminator? Doesn't even have.
We had laminators, he had a machine to print cards. but-
Right, because she needs formal identification, so.
I would start by asking this guy.
Let's ask any college student anything. My son has like 2 cards.
And if they don't do this anymore, then we'll take it to the next step.
Well, yeah,
We'll have the chairman.
would something like this work?
Yeah.
Because I did this online, it was like $20.
Oh, really?
I have to figure out where I did it.
Let's
Right, you can probably get it on Amazon.
I don't even remember how I did it before, because I was.
Just have the signature of the town clerk.
Well, it's gonna be.
If you're not able to find one, we'll escalate to Kim's mission to get Kim's problems. Likely because we don't expect you to be in the building early in the morning. Want you to have an official. All right, any other business to conduct this evening? All right, it is 8:18. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Okay, motion carries. Thanks for coming.